The Ministry of Aesthetic Affairs released the top 5 emerging art forms across the empire. It reads like a symptom list. Synesthetic Pulse Gardens made the list again, still operating on Tyreme's Imperial Reserve. 100 hectares of sensory landscaping. No audits allowed, of course. Questioning a reserve means petitioning the royal family and having a death wish.
Ah, yes, you and I visited on that May Tuesday during your diplomatically unverified flirtation with the Directorate. You were so tense I could hear your spine buzz. The gardens helped. Left 3 hours later, convinced I was a flute made of citrus. Honestly, I still hit a high F near oranges.
Reopening after the minor incident involving a melted identity and a misplaced violin concerto. Hardly minor.
Picture this, a meadow that breathes. You walk in, and the world doesn't look different. It tastes different. Sight is interpreted as sound. Emotions are experienced as flavor. Regret might taste like burnt honey. Joy, like carbonated starlight. An existential dread, bit like chewing on a question mark soaked in gin.
The effect comes from a cascade of neurotransmitter pulses, mostly serotonin and acetylcholine, with a dash of calibrated chaos. Occasionally spilled wine. Usually mellow.
But do you remember what we found just past the tree line, hidden behind those overgrown memory ferns?
You mean that cube? The one that hummed when I got too close?
Indeed, a cracked relic, whispering riddles it knew my woodkeeper pattern. Said something about the 7th thread.
Probably just an unauthorized Yelis artifact. That man left surprises like mold leaves spores.
Well, I quite liked it. Best souvenir I ever didn't take with me.
It all relies on embedded infrastructure. Neuro-aurora emitters, cross-sensory reflectors, and psycho-spatial modulators. Beneath all that, imperial surveillance tech so subtle it reads your doubts before you do. They call it Imperial Reserve, which is empire speak for don't ask questions you're not ready to die for.
2 primary methods of immersion. For the bold or unhinged, there's the full-body receptor mesh. You wear it like a second skin, and it turns your entire nervous system into a listening instrument.
Direct somatosensory mapping. And for those with a more delicate constitution, the neurocollar. Projects a personalized perceptual bubble around your head. Your own private hallucination dome.
Walk the same path, and you see your lost childhood home in autumn. The person next to you sees sentient coral reciting jazz and insists it's Coltrane.
It's always Coltrane. Even the universe has a favorite record. The collar is intricate. It is custom encoded. It translates environmental stimuli into associative memory constructs, shaped by your own emotional signature. In short, the art looks back.
Indeed. And every step you take in the garden is not merely through space, but through meaning.
Depending, of course, on your choice of interface.
Ah yes, the great philosophical divide. Are you the instrument, or merely wearing headphones?
The full-body receptor mesh offers a more embodied approach. Direct sensory mapping across the skin and peripheral nerves. You're not just observing the art, you're conducting it. With your liver. In some cases, literally.
It's rather like being turned into an orchestra tuned by emotions. Glorious, chaotic, occasionally weepy. Bit like Aunt Miriam's 3rd wedding.
Drawback? Dissociative drift, sensory blending, over-identification with mood fields. One subject merged with a fog installation and wouldn't leave for 12 hours. Required soup and interpretive dance.
She said the fog understood her. Now contrast that with the neuro-collar, the subtle little oracle. It doesn't drape itself over your senses. It peers into your soul, jots down a few notes in calligraphy your therapist would charge double for, and then shows you exactly what your subconscious wishes you'd forgotten.
The experience is entirely internalized. The collar projects a holographic perceptual field based on memory matrices and emotional resonance patterns. Elegant, portable, and, crucially, self-limiting.
Meaning, you're less likely to mistake a glowing orb for your ex, unless you really haven't moved on.
The downside? It's filtered. Beautifully so, yes. But still your mind's version of the art. Which is not always the same as the art itself.
But then again, isn't that true of all art?
Only when it's good. Some tourists emerge giggling at the smell of betrayal. Others can no longer eat strawberries without crying, which, for the record, has ruined at least 2 picnics and 1 ambassadorial dinner.
Oh, I remember. One moment I was watching time bloom in ultraviolet. Next thing I knew, I was sobbing over the flavor of missed opportunities. Tasted a bit like cinnamon toast, actually, with undertones of my grandma's laugh. I was sticky with nostalgia for hours. It's like being given your memories back, re-spiced. A love letter to your nervous system from a poet with a mixing spoon.
A poet who accidentally reprogrammed 12 people to associate moonlight with abandonment.
Yes, but have you felt moonlight lately? Soft as a sigh, salty like the edge of a goodbye.
Can't say I have, no.
I give 5 stars, would dissociate again.
Assuming you remember it, or haven't recontextualized it into a sonnet about toast.
And this is only number 5. Wait until you see Gravitational Calligraphy or the theatre piece, where 3 versions of you boo your own performance.
Neural Nonsense Podcast, now on YouTube.
Subscribe for more mild transcendence.